It's official. I am leaving for the country of where I want to live. Okay? I'm not gonna share too much about this country because, again, I believe strongly into the juju and the jinxing and whatever. So for now, it's gonna be destination sunshine. Okay? So you're just gonna picture a very sunny sunshine destination for yourself, and you're gonna, voila, you're gonna just follow along and tag onto the journey. But I finally chose, and I finally fucking booked my tickets. I mean, booked my ticket, like one-way ticket. I've always dreamt of doing that, and now I'm finally fucking doing it. Donc voilà, this is the biggest high of this week so far, which is Monday. I booked my ticket and Airbnb already yesterday. And we're gonna go on to a new fucking adventure. And then when I booked, I was just like, like half apprehensive, half nervous, half excited, half what the fuck am I actually doing? But altogether, I was like, I'm fucking doing it. And it just made me reflect over my last 10 years in the Netherlands. I originally came to the Netherlands for an internship of 1 year at Nike to validate my master's in international human resource management, guys. Like, let's just look at what I studied and let's look at what I did, okay? For the past 7 years. And when I came there, so when I booked my tickets and stuff, the first thing that came to me was like, putain, can you imagine, like 10 years ago, June 2015? Yeah, June 2015, because it's gonna be 11 years now. But June 2015, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Amsterdam and we see what happened. But for me, it was just like, I'm staying a year and then I'm just gonna fuck off because, hello, I don't wanna go too north after Paris in France. Like going even more north for me is like, no, c'est pas possible. So I went there, stayed a year. And I think that after the first 3 months already, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to stay here. Like I was already convinced. I already told myself, like, I don't want to stay here. But being there, and after 3 months, I was like, bah, flemme en fait. Really, really flemme. Whilst everybody else around me was like, oh my God, you have such a beautiful chance. You're at Nike for a year. Like, do you want to stay already? I'm like, I have no fucking clue, guys. Like, let's just calm our tits, Whilst everybody else around me was already after month 1 going, having coffees with managers, directors to secure, to just do some networking and good for them. I'm not, but I was just on a very different, let's say, timeline, wish, whatever. And so, oh putain, je me suis assise, my back hurts, 35 years. And so this is the first thing that came to me. And then for the past 10 years, every year in June, I'd be like having a fucking existential crisis because what do we do, bro? Do we leave? Do we stay? Do we leave? Do we stay? It's like a renewal of a contract, as if like I was on a short-term contract for literally, I don't know, 10 years. And then poof, every fucking year I'm like, okay, let's just renew. Let's see what happens. Donc, I stayed for 10 years and so when I booked again these tickets, I thought of it and I thought of how, of course, I applied the process of application and I got chosen and selected and everything, but you just go for a certain reason, right? For me, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna validate my master's degree and then we'll see what happens. So I chose, but the level of choosing 10 years ago versus now is completely different because now it's also choosing from a 35-year-old life experience, whilst 10 years ago was still like 24, 25. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about life. For me, it's like I'm going to live à l'international. I'm going to have an international experience. This is what's required in for my master's. And then I'm just going to go for it, But now it's like, oh, I grew up. Now I get to make my fucking choices. Like nothing is tying me up to anything. I'm not dependent on a fucking master's or a school or whatever. I'm literally free, And that freedom, I swear to you, it's been 2.5 years that I'm actually wanting to leave the Netherlands and, discussing with my partner and blah, blah, blah. And long story short, I leave June 2025 after, 6 months of shit show and whatever. And recovering throughout the year and all the way till now, that same thought, that same desire never left. And now in my head, I was like, 2026, I will make this fucking happen. Did I say where I wanted to go? No, right? Yeah, I just said that I didn't want to go more north than um, France, Netherlands. So, still trying to keep the mystery, guys. I really just believe in all the juju and everything. But, anyways, now it's really just choosing from a perspective of I am free to really go wherever I want to go. And then when I thought of this and when I thought of all the areas of my life where I'm actually being a beginner, this one also falls into it. I really feel like I'm also being a fucking beginner into this, into choosing, into like taking a fucking plane ticket, taking a one-way destination, not knowing how long I'm gonna stay there. Like, of course, my Airbnb, I took it for like 4 weeks, okay? But will I like it? Will I not? And it's like this, again, level of experimentation, level of I'm in the lab, I'm just trying, I'm just exploring, and it makes me feel so fucking alive, right? Not the process of like buying a ticket and going to the fucking unknown, but just again that process of being a beginner at life almost, and having that opportunity to choose and to really just choose for myself, not have someone choose for me or choose me, but have this process of like me choosing me and choosing for me. I think that's very, first of all, empowering. That makes me feel very alive. And again, brings me back to this topic of being a beginner. Being a beginner and seeing the game, seeing the fun, seeing the joy, seeing the enthusiasm into beginning something new, and not having a fucking clue of how it is that it's going to look like, if you're going to like it, if it's going to turn out good, or if it's going to turn out complete shit. Especially now, because that there's, in this position, there's a financial, let's say, investment, like I put some money in there. It's not as if like I'm trying a class for 15 euros and then I can just decide whether or not I want to continue. That is like a rather important chunk of money that also goes into this. So you have this sort of like responsibility of, okay, we need to make it sort of good and right. And I think for a long time I followed that route in choosing which destination, which city, which country, which, whilst I know where it is that I actually want to go. And I think I postponed and rescheduled and sort of like procrastinated because I was like, oh, I don't want to put the money in there, whilst putting the money for me again is really just that thing of I'm choosing me. I'm choosing for myself. And if it's good, it's good. If it turns out bad, it's still good because I am still building my foundations. So I think all in all I wanted to say is still building my fucking foundations. The same way I'm building the foundations for this podcast, for my storytelling project, for my presence on social media. It is about building those foundations, about being able to, or like having the courage, I read this sentence that said, going through life is basically like how much courage you're gonna put into the things that you're actually doing, whether you go forward or you pause or you step backward is like, not even like whether you go forward or you don't is how much courage you're gonna put into that step, and even though right now it's a lot of like beginnings, it can feel like quite a lot. And at the same time, for me, there are days where I'm like, putain, en fait, c'est beaucoup là quand même, And there are other days where I'm just like, putain, en fait, c'est cool. Like, there's still, I'm using that sort of like momentum, and not momentum of urgency and precipitation and speed and whatever, but momentum of, putain, one step forward, dudes. You got this and you're actually fucking doing it. So if you're in that sort of position of, again, transition, not really knowing what it is that you're doing or where you're going, like, again, be in that position of you're building the foundations of you. You're by choosing yourself and by choosing for yourself and by putting in the reps. For me, it's like going to the gym, I'm putting in the reps, and all of this is really helping me build resilience, is helping me build stamina, is helping me build, again, that inside out strength. And I couldn't be more excited because all of this is literally bringing so much life into me. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I just wanted to give you that excitement and that joy and that enthusiasm and that sort of like, tu vois, momentum to also just you doing yourself. Okay? And now I'm gonna stop because I realize I'm fasting, so I have a headache.